Crockett giving to Allen, sending him wide left. He has to reverse his field, but he gets away for a moment. Comes back up the middle of 30, 25, 40. Breaks past 2 minutes of 50. Down to the 40. Picking up a blocker. To the 20. To the 10. To the 5. Touchdown Raiders! Holy Toledo! 7-4.
It's 3rd down and 3. Dallas at the Pittsburgh 10. Roger back to throw. Has a man open in the end zone. Caught. Touchdown. Dropped in the end.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Football Thursday here. I am your host, Con Dog, and I'm no longer an air hog because I'm not on radio waves anymore. I'm on internet digital waves, so not really an air wave hog, but oh well, that's the old radio thing if you know me from my radio shows. But let's go onward to our top 15 here. And yes, it has changed, finally. There's been a lot of big changes. A lot of things happened last weekend, and let's talk about those things that have happened. As you can see here, number 5, the big difference. Ohio State is number 5 for me right now. Oklahoma's number 6, Wisconsin 7, Texas 7, Florida 9, Penn State 10, Auburn's out of the top 10, Notre Dame, Oregon, Michigan, and Boise State. I just couldn't think of anyone to put at that 15 spot because Texas A&M's resume got worse because Auburn lost, and Iowa lost to Michigan, and oh, know what? Speaking about that game, let's just roll right forward and let me go talk about that game. Okay, Iowa's quarterback, I feel sorry for this defense. I feel sorry for this O-line. I feel sorry for anyone. Iowa's quarterback, and I believe he was a junior or a senior, so more of a veteran, did dumb freshman mistakes. So whenever Michigan's defense would just collapse onto him for a sack, he would decide, and he's not a great athlete here. He's not Michael Vick. He's not McNabb. He's not Culpepper. He's not Aaron McNair. He's not Tarkenton. He's not Wilson. He's none of them. And he would decide to run even further backwards to try and avoid a sack instead of just taking the sack and lost tons of yards and put him out of field goal range and just some sort of viable 3rd down range constantly. It was hard for me to watch. I just felt sorry because Iowa really could have won this game. They could have matched Michigan here and maybe just eliminated Harbaugh from playoff contention. I felt so bad for the rest of definitely the defense. They played their tails off, man. They played their ass off, their tails off. It was just... But yeah, Iowa's dude, you got to take a sack, man. You got to take that 5-yard loss versus a 15, 20-yard loss, man. You just got to take it. You just got to learn, everyone's dream is to play in the NFL, and they're going to be bigger and stronger. You just got to learn to take it. That's just the way it is. And the rules even benefit you now to just lie down and they can't do anything. So use the rules to your advantage. Know the rule book. Learn how to take the sack. Don't fumble it. Don't just make the best out of a bad situation. Don't make it worse. Because you're not Michael Vick. Alright, but enough about that. Florida, Auburn. Auburn came to play in Tallahassee, and Florida came back and gave them a couple slobber knockers, and they took the victory all the way down there in the swamp with the Gators, doing a little Gator clap right there. But the Gators did take advantage of that, and they totally won with it, and they are still going to be in my top 10. And Georgia's going to have some stiff competition. Now, is it me? Type it in the comments if you feel like it. But is it me, or is Florida even better without Felipe Franks? They were down against Kentucky, and Kentucky, new guy comes in, they rally around that, and they go and beat Auburn, who could have been a better team. I feel like they may be even better without Felipe Franks, or the fact that they're just rallying around that he's injured and they're playing better because of that. Just something to keep an eye on. And then... that's about it. Wisconsin defense still looked like Oklahoma. I'm waiting for some other big games for some other big teams. But so with further ado, let's just go and cut right into the games to watch here. And games to watch, it is Red River Week, baby. You're definitely tuning to that 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. You're gonna be watching Oklahoma at Jerry's World take on the Longhorns of Texas. It is going to be Jalen Hurts versus Sam Ehlinger, two Heisman hopefuls, Tom Herman, Lincoln Riley. It is going to be a clash. It's going to be a fun game, and it was a fun game last year, especially when Dicker the kicker hit the game winner. I mean, it was nuts. It was a great game last year, and it's going to be a great game this year. Trust me. This is one you do not want to miss. This is definitely gonna be awesome. Like, it's Red River week. And another one, and then for the middle game here, the 12:30, because obviously no way Bama and A&M gonna be competing against Red River. It's gonna be Bama and A&M, and it's gonna be at College Station. So A&M does have a little bit of a shot here to pull up an upset against Tua Tagovailoa and Nick Saban here. And that's going to be pretty fun. That could be fun to watch. It could also be a disaster, disaster asterisk. But the game below that's kind of important too, because the game below that, it is SEC East versus SEC West as the Gators take a trip to Baton Rouge to take on the LSU Tigers. And that's going to be a great game, actually, because as you can see the rankings here, you can flip back, screenshot, I don't know, but rank 9 for me, personally. I don't go by AP rankings, I think, or whatever rankings. I think they're a little outdated and all this stuff, and I don't feel like it's right for current athletic directors to decide college football playoffs and rankings. I think there's way too much human bias in there. I think you have to have some computer element in there. But so here's just my own bias. No, I have no ties that I currently went to junior college, have no ties to any conference, have no ties to any college. I flip between players and teams and all that mumbo jumbo. So I'm pretty non-biased when it comes to college. I just root for great college teams. And with that, again, so my number 9 Florida is going to go up against my number 4 LSU in Baton Rouge, and it's going to be this could be a great game. We'll see what Florida's made out of, and we'll see what LSU's made out of. And again, if you noticed on my rankings, Texas is the only one-loss team I've kept in the top 10, and that's because I still personally believe that LSU loss was more Texas just having the worst luck possible. I mean, geez, I've never seen so much misfortune, like, just turn more than it was LSU skill. So there is that. But yeah, those are the games to watch. I mean, you can maybe skip the middle one. I just couldn't find a better middle one that I felt. I mean, Alabama playing another ranked team, I just felt like that's always good to watch, because I've seen, Johnny Manziel upset them and all this stuff. I've seen random SEC teams just upset Bama at some point. So this could be it. Could not be. Don't, just pay attention to my wording here. But Red River and Florida LSU, those are not missed. Those are can't miss. That is primetime television, 9 a.m. And also, speaking of Red River, if you get a chance and you're up 2 hours before 9 a.m., and able to watch a Big Noon Kickoff, they are going to be running it not just an hour before kickoff, but 2 hours before, and Big Noon Kickoff is Fox's Big Noon Kickoff. They do the Big 12 game and Big 10 game, whichever one's the biggest one gets the spot. This week's Red River Week, and it is hosted by Urban Meyer, Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush, Brady Quinn, and Rob Stone. And this week's guests are Bob Stoops and Vince Youngs. 2 hours before, you got an Oklahoma legend and a Texas legend right there for Red River. I suggest you watch Big Noon Kickoff if those two are the special guests for Red River. It'll put you right in the mood. It'll get you super psyched. And I mean, how many college goats can you get on one show? That is a question that Big Noon Kickoff will answer. And with that, let's go and track all the way forward into the big boy leagues. It is the NFL, the Shield. And no, not the WWE Shield. I'm talking about the NFL Shield. So let's go take a look at the playoff standing. Again, we still have New England 5-0, Kansas City 4-1. Injuries. Texans are still leading the South. Again, that was my pick there. So far 3 divisions. So far, so good. Wild card. Besides the Ravens, but the Browns, actually, I did predict the winning, and they're still technically not too far behind, and they have a victory over the Ravens, even though all of the AFC North has looked a big mess, and that's what I'm going to say there. But I remember I saw something here by Stephen A. Smith earlier saying how the Patriots have the easiest path to the Super Bowl because they're in the AFC. So if you take a look at it, the Bills are the second best team in the AFC, and excluding the Niners with their bye week, the Bills are tied for third best in the NFL, second best depending on, when bye weeks catch up, all that nonsense. So I see, and it's also, it's not Alabama, like, even go to Alabama or Clemson. It's not Alabama, Clemson, or the Patriots' faults that their schedule isn't harder because they're the best team. You can't play yourself. Like that, they literally, no matter how good you are, you cannot play the best team if you are the best team. It's physically, De La Salle can't play De La Salle, folks. Like, that is how it works. That's just how it works. I'm sorry. But yeah, you can't play yourself, so you just hope other teams are just ready. And also, Tom Brady's the last 8 seasons, the last 8 times he has gone to Miami Dolphins' house, he's only 2-6. He's lost 75% of the time at Miami out of the last 8 times he's been there. So he loses a decent amount to the AFC East. That's enough. I'm going to talk about that because I don't want to, talk about something that's very simple. Well, actually, one last thing. I've heard constant players say, oh, it's the NFL. Nothing's an easy game. But then when it comes to the Patriots schedule, oh, they played cupcake. Make up your mind here. People just want to make their argument for whatever. But with that, let's just go and skedaddle all the way down to the NFC here. As again, we have the Niners, the Saints, the Packers, the Eagles, the Seahawks, and the Lions. Again, the Lions have been a great sleeper team. You would know that if you've been watching. Bears are doing okay. That Raiders loss is kind of iffy, but the Raiders have looked better than expected. And I don't know about the Bears' offense, but the defense is still spectacular. The Green Bay Packers are really a weird tip pass away from being undefeated on top of this. The Saints are that Drew Brees injury away from beating the Rams again. And the Seahawks are, well, honestly, a possession away from tearing the Saints defense up and going, like, there's a lot of cogs into this NFC, and it's fun. The Vikings might have just figured out Adam Thielen and Kirk Cousins. I don't know what that was. Maybe Kirk Cousins just needed a wake-up speech. Who knows about that, but let's just go roll on to Pick'em. All right, so last Christmas. Again, let's just take a look here. I went up a bit in the percentage. I went from 70 to 74. So that just shows that, again, it's evening out. I started off with a lesser percentage. You could take a look, but usually that just varies out to, more games are being played, and a lot of the troll pickers who kind of pick troll games and get lucky week 1, week 2 are kind of getting fizzled out into the later weeks. And I can tell you this, week 1 I scored 9 points on this straight. Remember, this is straight, not whatever odds, whatever the other ones are. But it's 10 points week 2, 9 points again week 3, 8 points week 4, 9 points. So I'm getting you 9 games correct a week. That's putting me up in 70 for like that. I'll take that. And considering if you follow this too, most of my misses are within a score, either a field goal or a touchdown. Like this past week, you can see that I only missed the Bears by a field goal. I missed the Giants by a lot, but I missed the Steelers Ravens by a field goal. I missed the Chargers Broncos by a touchdown. I missed Colts Chiefs by 6 points. I missed Cowboys Packers by 10. But if you take a look here at the tiebreaker, Niners Browns, I did guess 49ers winning that game for 31 points. Sure, I got the Browns score wrong, but I did get the Niners exact points correct. So that's something to look forward to. So let's just go all the way on to this current week. That's enough about last week. Let's just go on to this week. All right, let's just start it off right from the top. I got the New York Giants without Wayne Gallman, without Saquon Barkley, without Sterling Shepard, without Evan Ingram, are going to play the New England Patriots. Next, that is Patriots. That is a deserving. This is next one right below it is a much tougher game here. The Panthers may, have a higher percentage of people picking them, but you got to remember here, Jameis Winston put up 55 against the Rams, and they've sometimes looked very good, and they've looked okay. They've had some weird losses, close losses, but I actually think they can make this again. It is in London, so, and there's not going to be too much difference in jet lag. Both these teams are on the Eastern Standard Time zone, so there's not going to be huge difference in plane ride, jet lag, or whatever. So, but I'm gonna roll with Tampa here because I believe they've played more England games. I believe so, but again, this is the second of the 4 London games, so there's that. Next, it is the Ravens and Bengals, and gosh, they cannot catch a break. They just cannot catch a break. I feel so bad for them. But I'm going to roll with Lamar Jackson and the Ravens over the Bengals. Next, it is the Seahawks and the Browns. And the Seahawks have an okay running game, and the Browns have not been able to stop the run. And yeah, and I'm going to go with the MVP candidate Russell Wilson for the win. Next, it is a game that I think is much closer than what this percentage picked is going to be. They could very well lose this game if the injuries bug still... I mean, they lost to the Colts. They can definitely lose to the Texans. I think the Texans being a little disrespected here because they were that shoddy... They're that shoddy Saints Drew Brees play away from... Why is it always the Saints? But whatever. Play that little bit of prevent when the Saints only needed 10 yards to get in field goal range. Play by a corner. To being 4-1, and this is going to be great. Both these quarterbacks were part of the same draft class. One won the Heisman. One was on a Texas Tech team with no defense and had no shot of making the college football playoffs, Patty Mahomes. So I'm going to roll with the Chiefs just because they're at home, but this game, don't be surprised if the Texans do pull it off. Do not be surprised. Next, it is the battle for last place. Battle for last place. We got the Redskins going all the way to Miami, and I'm actually going to roll with the Dolphins here just because weird things happen in Miami, man. Even the 85 Bears, when they've played the Dolphins, like, weird things happen. Like, weird things happen with the Dolphins. They're just very weird. Like, I remember the year they were, like, 0-14. Oh, they played the Ravens and had, like, some sort of miracle to stop them from going 0-16. Weird things happen in Miami. Next, it is the Eagles-Vikings, and this is probably the closest game on here. I'm very shocked. This is probably the closest game on here. And I'm going to roll with the home Vikings. They did put a number on the Falcons when they played them, and I think they could probably do the same to the Eagles here. Eagles still missing, like deep threat Deshaun Jackson, and I don't know what's with Aguilar and Jeffrey at the moment. I'm liking the Howard and Sanders duo, but Diggs, I don't know about Diggs this season with Kirk Cousins, but Cook is the best player in the game. I will roll with Dalvin Cook and the Vikings. Next up, it is Jaguars and the Saints. It is Bridgewater versus Gardner Minshew, the battle of the backups, and actually don't get too surprised if Gardner Minshew pulls off the home upset against the Saints. It is very possible that Teddy Bridgewater comes back down to earth, but it also could be Sean Payton's amazing offensive play calling that has been carrying them. But don't be surprised if the Jaguars do. I think that percentage is a little disrespectful to the home team with Minshew Mania. But with that, I'm going to roll on to the next game here, and boy, oh boy, it is the bird bath here. We got 2 one-win bird teams with apparently explosive offenses, but Christian Kirk is out. But I still might take the Cardinals at home because I don't know what is with the Falcons. Ridley gets involved greatly one game and they win against the Eagles. The next couple games he's not involved. Then when he is involved, but then they still lose because they allowed so many points. Clearly the Falcons should not have let Kyle Shanahan go. I will give you that. It is night and day with the Niners, the Falcons, just everything. Night and day. And speaking of them, I'm going to roll with the Cardinals just because they're home, but again, I'm picking between two of some of the worst teams in football right now, so have a little leeway. Next up, it is the Niners and the Rams, and Again, both well-coached, young coaches, creative offensive play calling, lots of weapons, but I think I'm going to roll with the Rams. I'm going to roll with the home team, the Rams, but that could be a Niners win. That could also be a Niners win. I don't know exactly who the Niners are yet, just because last year they had the Garoppolo injury, so I don't know. So this is the season that I'm using to judge them, which could have been last season. But, that's just how it rolls. Next up, it is the mano y mano Sam Darnold versus the Dallas Cowboys. They are home. Sam Darnold's coming back, but mano's a rough thing, man. Mano's a rough thing, and this was a pretty decent speed recovery for that. But I'm going to go with the triplets of Cooper, Dak, and Zeke, even though I don't think they deserve to be called that. But they're the triplets of possibly overpaid. But I'm going to go with that. Dallas Cowboys with the win over the Jets. Next up, it is the Tennessee Titans going to Denver. And Denver has a chance to win this, but I'm actually going to pick the Titans here. Just because they've done some great stuff with early on in the season with Delaney Walker. Derrick Henry can sometimes just pop off. That one time he got that 99-yard touchdown run. I'm going to roll with that just because the Titans have a chance to be a bit more explosive and Denver just hasn't figured anything out. And then next, it is the Sunday night game, folks. Sunday night game, we have the LA Chargers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I don't know which team has been more disappointing this season. I have no clue whatsoever. No idea whatsoever which team has been more disappointing here between those LA Chargers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And hey, I got another question for you guys. What team do you consider LAC? LA Clippers or LA Chargers? Yeah, I just find it funny seeing the LAC, LAC logo for NFL games now because I'm so used to seeing it for the Clippers. I'm like, huh? I thought that's the but that's just how it works. I always assume LAC is the Clippers, not the Chargers, which is why they should be in San Diego. But Stan Kroenke and all the mumbo jumbo. Next up, it is the Monday night game, and the Lions are still getting disrespected here, even though I am siding with the Packers because they're home. But I do have the score 35-31, and again, they almost beat the Chiefs. This is a little disrespectful. If you're watching, do not be surprised if the Lions pull off this Monday night upset. Just like I told you not to be surprised if they beat the Eagles. Just like I said, don't be surprised against the Chiefs. And they almost did that. They're very close. Again, I said don't be surprised. And people keep continuing to get themselves surprised. Surprise. But with that is going to be it for this week. Luckily, this did not get PG&E power shouted out. No computer problems so far. And that's this episode. Thank you for listening again. Please come back for next time. This is Condog signing out.